So the next purchase we want to do is essentially about capitalizing services against a purchase invoice for stock. So when we've already bought some stock in and we have a purchase for that in the system, and we want to take an additional service cost and assign it to that. So this is an important method that you can apply if you've got an existing purchase and you want to essentially add costs. Often used for landed costs, courier costs, and so on if they come in separate invoices. What we're going to do in this scenario is we're going to take a new inspection cost and add it to the grapes that we purchased. So I add a new purchase. It's a standard purchase. Note, I didn't go to the services section. I went to a normal purchase. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for a supplier. Analysis code is already in the system. And what's really important is that I select blind receipt. So I've selected analysis code. I've selected blind receipt. My location is going to be HQ. I have to select that. My tax rate is standard. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and put in my invoice that they've sent me. So my invoice from the analysis code, we're going to put that in, and the invoice date can be today. That's fine. And then what I need to do is since it's not a stock item, I'm going to put in these additional costs down here. So this is an additional cost that I've incurred related to the grapes, and this is how I can process it. So if I put in the inspection service here, the quantity, let's put that in. So that's my inspection service. The reference will be for grapes. That's whatever you would like it to be, and let's say that it costs 1,000. So I've got a 1,150 Rand in total, 1,000 Rand for that service, and I will authorize that. Now, what happens when I do that is that I get an additional option here. So I get to choose the expenses button. Now, the expenses button, what it allows me to do is to distribute out this cost against an existing purchase that I have. So what I can do is I can take these expenses and I can allocate them out to an existing purchase. So I'm going to find my grapes invoice here, and I'm going to do that. That was originally 20,000 Rands worth of grapes, and I'm going to allocate this cost to that purchase. This is a very important method in DEER, and it allows you to take those services and allocate it to an existing purchase. So there must be a purchase in the system for this to work. There we go. I can save that. And what DEER will do is it will make a note about where that cost was allocated. It gives me a few ways of essentially viewing the result. So for starters, what I can do is I can go and have a look at that particular invoice. And if I move across to that invoice, what we'll see is that there has been a manual journal applied to that stock. So it's essentially added an additional 1,000 Rand in. And of course, once I've done the action, go to my report, and what we will see is that the value of those grapes will have increased by 1,000. So it's split it out, and if we go have a look here, I've got quantity on hand, 1,000, and there's that additional 500 Rand split across that invoice in terms of the additional service that I have utilized. So that's another important method in DEER. We can take a service cost and allocate against an existing purchase in the system, and it'll increase the value of that stock on hand.